Hello everyone, Brian here as always from the Heavy Heart to talk to you about Power Trip, who I recently just saw at Third Man Records in Nashville, Tennessee. Third Man Records is Jack White's label here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a very unassuming building when you first walk up, black exterior with a few yellow highlights, but you go down this long corridor underneath an awning that's almost going to cut your head off, and then you actually enter an outdoor area with all the bands and their merch, and this is before you enter the venue. Very different. After you pass the outside area and the merch tables, you finally reach the venue, which is on the smaller side. With no barrier, no security, or anything like that to speak of, it definitely had a more home show type of vibe rather than that of a venue vibe. The first band to take the stage was Red Death from Washington, D.C. These guys sounded like a hardcore crossover thrash band, very much like Suicidal Tendencies, Toxic Holocaust, or a current band like Municipal Waste. It was heavy and it kicked ass. Generally not the thing you're thinking of when you hear an opening band. These guys came on stage with their unassuming attitudes and clothing and just blew everyone away. Red Death is definitely an awesome young crossover band that I'm going to be listening to a lot more in the future. After them was Fury, a hardcore band from the Orange County area of California. Now both these bands were hardcore, but since Fury was from the opposite coast, they had a totally different vibe to their music. It's that very California sound that's more influenced on punk music rather than hardcore and thrash music. Fury didn't quite have the power as the opening band, but they put on a great show with their energy and their hardcore hooks. And P.S., if you're going to name your band something simple like Hate, Death, or Fury, it's going to make a little difficult to find you on the internet. Just some food for thought. After them was Sheer Mag, and they were definitely the odd band out of the night. I would best describe Sheer Mag as surfer rock with a bit of hardcore punk elements and a singer doing a mediocre Janis Joplin impression. They weren't bad by any stretch, but it wasn't quite the music I came expecting for Power Trip. They also had 3 guitar players on stage, and it felt like it was quite underutilized because when you have that many instruments on stage, you can definitely utilize it to your advantage. When you're about to open for Power Trip, this might not be the best way to lead into them. Sheer Mag was from Philadelphia, and then Power Trip was Dallas, and that was a really cool thing about this tour was pulling from a little bit of every area of America. Minus the Midwest, but who really wants to go there anyways? While every band might not have blended together perfectly, I do want to give this tour credit for creating a quite diverse lineup and grabbing from all over America. When Power Trip finally took the stage, you could tell that people were ready for them. They opened up with Soul Sacrifice, and a circle pit immediately broke out in the center of the room. This room was quite small, so that meant that no matter where you were going to be involved in this mosh pit. Power Trip ripped through song after song, and they're twice as heavy live as they are on their albums. I definitely think this isn't quite the concert Third Man Records is used to. Near the end of the set, they got into Firing Squad, and by that time it felt like all hell had broken loose inside, as people were stage diving off into the unassuming crowd members who weren't ready to receive them. They closed out their set with Crossbreaker, and the energy in the room was just as high as when their set had started. If you love classic thrash, heavy music like this, or just want to get out some aggression, I definitely recommend you check out Power Trip on this tour right now. That's going to wrap up this review. Thanks again for watching. I'm Brian from the Heavy Heart. Keep it metal.